Unlocking Marital Bliss.
Hey, you're so much welcome to Unlocking Marital Bliss with Miss Iris Rod. And I'm so glad that you tuned in this very afternoon. I believe that your lives are not going to remain the same. Tonight, I am just so excited because we have a subject that we're going to be dealing with. We've had a lot of feedback, and guys, please keep that feedback coming in. We do appreciate those of you that lives are changing. Many of your lives are being transformed, and the testimonies are enormous. We really thank God for that. And keep it coming from all across Africa. Keep it coming. And in Uganda too, keep it coming. We really do appreciate. Yes, you can also follow us on YouTube. Click, love, subscribe, like, whatever on YouTube. Okay. But as for today, and remember that number, don't call that number that you see on your screen. It's a WhatsApp number, so you can send a message on WhatsApp or SMS. Now, tonight, I would like us to share about something that probably many of you are struggling with and you don't know how to go about it, but we want to build it so well. And tonight, we're going to deal with the maids in the home, okay? Helpers. I would like to use the word maids in the home, okay? How can we be able to have marriage and also have maids? Are maids acceptable? Can we build up a marriage while we have maids in the home? Are they a threat to the home? How can we build up and establish a great marriage full of bliss even with maids at home? Are they necessary? We're going to find out in just a minute. Tonight, we want to talk about the maids. How necessary are they? Are they a menace? Can we be able to have them? And in case we have them, of course, some people are going to say, well, they've been a menace. I don't want to talk about that and all that. Well, there's so much. But tonight, we talk about the maids in a home. Okay? And tonight, I have a couple that is going to help me to be able to just break it down. Is it possible to have maids and succeed with them? Very much. And that's what I want to concentrate on. And together with me, would you welcome Mr. and Mrs. Mijumbi?
Oh, yes.
You're so much welcome, Pastor David Mijumbi.
Yeah.
From where?
From Chiwenda, Gayaza.
Chiwenda Gayaza.
Yeah.
Okay, Chiwenda Gayaza. What are you doing there?
I'm a pastor and I'm a family man.
You're a family man.
Yep.
Yes, I understand. You're married to...
The beautiful lady.
I'll let you introduce her.
Oh, come on. That's a privilege. You know, this is my lovely wife, Letitia Mijumbi. And we bless the Lord. We've been married now for 10 years.
Oh,
Not
wow.
only married, but happily married. You know,
I love that.
there is a difference between,
that.
you know, it's not about staying long, but it's staying.
No.
Yeah.
Being able to fulfill.
Yep.
Yes.
So we are being married 10 years.
Happily married.
Happily married. You
And
can
you-
see the smile.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You've had that laugh, that giggle means a lot. So, Mrs. Mijumbi, it's a pleasure to have you here.
I'm so glad to be part of this.
Thank you for coming by. He says you're from Chiwenda.
Yeah.
Chiwenda, what's the name of your church?
Global Prayer Altar
For 10 years.
for 10 years.
You've been married.
Of course.
Did he marry you after he started the church or before he started the church?
I found him a pastor. Was already a pastor. I was a campus girl.
Okay. Campus girls. And your body language, I was a campus girl. So, how does a campus girl end up with a pastor?
Actually, those are two different worlds. Totally two different worlds.
Yeah.
When he was courting me, we met through an overnight. It's a long story.
Okay.
But many people discouraged him to marry me because I was totally different, what they call a pastor's wife.
Okay. They say there's no way you can make a pastor's wife.
Physically, we are right. But spiritually, that's what David saw. David saw what they didn't see. For them, they saw the physical part. Of course, we are right. My dress projected was, campus girls, Makerere University, campus girls, short dresses, campus girl, campus life, a young girl, and he's a pastor, he has a church. So it was so
And then
contradicting.
you bring this girl fresh from campus to come and lead the church. Okay, you become a mother of the church. That was faith, brother.
Yeah, it was faith. When you are going to marry somebody, don't look at their state, their current state.
Yes.
You should have the projectivity to see the future from the beginning. So I saw something that people did not see in her. And I was able to cultivate the best out of her. So now they celebrate, but they did not see her. They did not see who she is now. But I saw it before.
You were able to cultivate the best out of her. This is something that men ought to understand, that when you marry a woman, you've married a project. You are going to cultivate, you're going to develop, bring the good out of her. Everything you want in a woman is already on the inside of her. Everything you would ever desire in that woman is already on the inside of her. But it's your responsibility to bring it out, to cultivate it out so that it is sin. And when you talked about cultivating, that is work. So instead of thinking unfinished work, you're looking at, I'm going to bring the work out. Okay? I'm going to bring the work out. And that is exactly what you did. And today you have your beautiful Leticia over here because you endured, you were patient with her, you believed in her, you never spoke down on her, you never spoke against her, you believed in her, you encouraged her, you cleansed her, you literally washed her before you took her to yourself. Now that's what the Bible says about a man loving a woman. You wash her, clean her. But today, you mentioned that, and most boys want finished work. They say, what you bringing on the table? I need a woman who is a graduate. Now, it's this boys in church today. And even out there, I need a woman who's a graduate, a woman who has money, who works, who is willing to help me start my business. I say to you, boy, that's foolishness. And that's embarrassment to being a man. You embarrass every man on earth when you begin saying, I need a woman who will uphold me, who will give me money to start a business, who will be there for me. Go to your mama, okay? Go to your mama. You're looking for a mama, not a wife. And I want to warn you on that. So, because you did that, you're able to love her, and you're not just seated there waiting for some mama. When we talk about maids, isn't this the reason why some people don't want maids in their houses? Are maids good? Should they be welcomed? Because if you walk into a home and you're thinking, I need a woman to take care of me, I need a woman to be there, and you get into the home, then the maid is going to be there for you and take charge. And then you're going to become a victim, and the next thing they say, maids are bad, maids are bad. How about other maids? Let me start with you.
Actually, Pastor Cyrus, from the days of Abraham,
Yes.
Rebecca, when you read the Bible, the word maid servant is always there. From the days of Abraham, check, Sarah had a maid, Hagar.
Yeah,
The
you're
maids were there.
Yes.
But that didn't
So they've always been part of family.
from the days of Genesis up to
Yes.
now. So
Now, Abraham, thank you for quoting Abraham. Abraham was a wealthy man. That means anybody who can afford a maid is doing good. Go ahead.
and it didn't take Sarah's position before Abraham.
Yeah.
It didn't take. Actually, even whatever happened, it was Sarah who gave Abraham the permission because maybe she had lost hope. I'm not going to give birth. But now this is where the problem came from. that, of course, Hagar was good, but when she crossed the boundaries, like when Sarah gave her a go ahead, like this is where things get spoiled from. Like when you treat a maid well, you love them, you give them your heart, you open up your home to them, they cross the boundaries.
Okay.
So now that's where the problem came from. When she crossed the boundary, she crossed the boundary after, I know, I slept with the husband. Little did she know that it was Sarah had given her the permission. And now those are the days of Sarah.
And now you've brought some things very good. You said from the days of the Bible, maids have always been around, part of the family. And maids should know their positions, but the wives should also know their positions. So you're saying there's a possibility that the woman in the house can surrender the maid to the husband
Very well.
by her own folly.
By her own falling. You're very right.
It's okay. Now, Pastor Mijumbi,
Yes, sir.
you've heard what Mrs. Mijumbi has said. The maids all the way from the days of the Bible have been present. But now we got to discuss dip. When a maid comes in, who has full authority over the maid?
All right. Now, before I bring home your question, let me first begin by appreciating all the maids that are watching us from around the globe. Because without them, this world wouldn't be a better place.
Thank you.
I want to talk to some maids that are watching us. You are not doing something small. You are doing a great deal to this world.
Yes.
You make life easy for so many families.
I'm telling you.
So don't feel like you are down. Don't feel like you're not worthy. I want you to understand that you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Because many families are living a good life because of what you are doing.
Yes.
So every maid should know that they are celebrated
Thank you.
because they are doing a great work.
Awesome.
They are in the Bible.
Yes.
They are great.
They're called of God.
Called of God.
And God has a plan for their lives.
Plan for them. We wouldn't be who we are if it were not for the maids.
Yes, sir.
Life wouldn't be easy for certain families. Now, there are
Yes.
families that are working. How
Yes.
would they do it without maids?
Yes.
So I would say this, that, who is responsible to bring the maid in the house?
Uh-huh.
Who's supposed to look after the maid or to select the maid? I believe that as a family, it is our obligation as my wife and I.
Yeah.
When we get a maid, we can interrogate the maid.
Yes.
It is okay to talk to the maid to know that, who is this person coming into our home?
Yeah.
Now, looking after a maid is not her job, neither my job. Because when a maid walks into our family, she's not just she is part of the family. Let me say that.
Okay.
So when she's part of the family, it is my responsibility. It is her responsibility. So we are equally responsible for any maid that walks into our life.
Okay, so you're responsible for any maid that walks in.
Yeah.
What you're telling us is that when you hire somebody into your home, both of you are responsible.
Yep.
You take care of her.
Yep.
Make sure she is taken care of. Okay, that's very good.
Okay.
There's something that I wanted us to bring forth. Some people come in and the man will hardly talk to the maid, and the woman will talk to the what? To the maid. So the question is, who has authority over her? Yes, all of us take responsibility, but who has authority over the maid?
Of course, me the wife, Pastor Cyrus.
Okay, you're the wife. Now, there's something, and I'm going to support you there. There are people watching over right now, and they're thinking, yeah, we need to know. We need to know. Because there are cases, and we're going to begin from this negative side. There are cases, and this is real life, okay, where, in fact, somebody was telling me the story where a man, husband, talking to the wife, like you talking to Letitia over here. And while you're talking, or rather, Letitia is talking to you and you're listening and you're going on. And then the maid shows up, okay, and says, excuse me, Mr. Mijumbi. And then you turn to Letitia and you go, yes, how can I help you? So you turn. You turn to your wife and you zip her up with this gesture, and then you start listening to the maid. You hear me? You start listening to the maid. And now this is real life, by the way. This happened a while ago. Start listening to the maid. A case came to me, you know? Start listening to the maid. So some of the men don't even know who actually has authority over the maid. You cannot zip your wife up so you can listen to the maid. Letitia, would you buy that?
I'm imagining it. I'm trying to put it in my head, and I'm trying to go into that word. I'm like, okay, now I'm talking, and then...
You're with Mr. Mijumbi, and Mr. Mijumbi goes,
Pastor Cyrus, you're going too far with that. Some do like this. Like, there are those conflicts you get in marriage, eh?
Yeah.
You have a maid. The husband is angry with you. You're not talking. And what they do?
no.
The maid comes, everything. Which name can I use? Let me use Letitia. Okay. Letitia, you're the maid. Bring me this. So you're the wife. They no longer
Your
speak to
sideline.
you. Yes, they don't need you. The maid, give me tea, give me this. Yet all along, it has been you. They speak to, they need tea, it's you who brings it. But when you get the conflict, now the maid comes in, steps in.
Now, I love, now that's what I love. Letitia, you're bringing it out so good. When there's a conflict, the man turns to the maid. So when he's leaving home, he will send the maid to buy everything, will send the maid to pay for the electric bill, will send the maid to do everything, and the wife, because you had a misunderstanding with your wife, and now you begin elevating the maid because you think the maid is just too good, and now she needs a higher position, and then she needs to be taken care of so well. Your wife hasn't done a good job. Now this is very dangerous. The Bible is so clear. You see, that's where maids begin messing up a home. So it begins with you, the man. If you have a misunderstanding with her, you solve it with her. It's not a moment to elevate the maid to the position and to the privileges of your wife. No. No matter what misunderstanding you have with your wife, you never elevate the maid to the position and the privileges of your wife. Never. Your wife can even mess up, do some ridiculous stuff, but that does not justify you elevating the maid to her position, because it will never be like that before God.
Yep.
You get it?
I get your point. You know, they need to understand this, that, you know, a maid should always stay in her position. Even though we bring her into our home and we embrace her as family, but she needs to know that I don't cross certain lines, certain boundaries. Now, as she said, some men will do that, but that is evil. Because when you position a maid in the place of your wife, then she will literally take over the marriage. She will take over the marriage. When a maid walks in, I believe it is our responsibility to look after her. But most of my efforts have to go behind through her to the maid.
You got to say that again.
Most of my support, if I see she needs some dresses maybe, I don't have to get the money. Favors to the maid should be through the wife. Because I don't want her to look at me as somebody that is interested in her.
Yeah, it can be your kind acts may be misinterpreted.
You know, every kind acts have to go through my wife. So if I want to do something, I'll talk to her, and then she has to present it to the maid. But the problem is most men will do this. They will always try to appreciate the maid directly, always try to pamper them, always try, because when they have like a wrangle with the wife, try to sweet talk to the maid, like the maid begins to listen to your troubles.
It's revenge.
It's revenge.
They're trying to get to their women
Or by using the maid.
by using the maid, which is so childish and stupid.
Very childish.
You know, you don't get to your wife, you don't get at your wife by trying to use the maid. I mean, that is, you're lowering yourself. You don't even know your position too. Any man that goes to that level doesn't know the position. Now, I've had men who say, well, she made me do it. Now, you know, guys, let me tell you, you ever have a home, anybody who has the name husband, or in that manner, husband, and you're what the name, you never say, she made me do it. She don't make you do it. You do it because you choose to be stupid. I'll be honest with you. You mentioned Abraham. You know, did God tell Abraham, go for your maid?
Nah.
Thank you.
Nah.
Thank you.
Abraham, the wife comes and tells Abraham, the wife is frustrated. She doesn't have a child. There's so much. Then she doesn't care what God is saying or whatever. She's aging and she's gone, and she says, Abraham, you know what? You see Hagar over there? She's good. She's beautiful. You can lay with her and you get a baby. And according to their culture and tradition by then, when you didn't have a child, you would bring your maid, your servant, and give her to your husband. Now Sarah has gone to the worldly way, to the way against God. So you would bring this maid, give her to your husband. And when she's given birth, if she conceives and she's going to give birth, she's supposed to sit on your laps. And when she's given birth, while seated on your laps, then that child will be considered yours. Now today, we have a lot of culture that is taking over, and the men are buying the culture. The women are buying the culture. You get me? To the destruction of their families. Abraham did that, and when it was done, what happened?
Chaos.
It was only chaos.
Chaos. When it was done, chaos struck in. Now imagine chaos coming in such a situation.
Because she made me do it.
She made
You
me
the
do it.
head of the
Now,
You're the head
of the home. You know, Abraham made one of the greatest mistakes. You know, when your wife is vulnerable, that's a time when you have to support her. Because, you know, Sarah, she had aged, you know, she was worn out, she was hopeless. Now, what she did was a replica of hopelessness in her.
Yes.
But the problem is, Abraham, you know, began to ride on her weakness.
Yeah.
He should have come and told, you know, Sarah,
the strength.
God is still with us.
Yes.
Because my wife telling me to sleep with a maid
Oh,
is not a legalistic. It's not legal to me. It doesn't change who I am.
Yeah.
It doesn't change who I am. So people that are watching us need to know this, that when maids walk into our homes, never give them a position they don't belong to.
Yeah.
Because maids ride mostly on the position you give them.
That's true.
You know, they use the power that you pass on to them. How do you do it as a man? Mostly it is men who empower maids.
Yes.
Because she's female and you are a male.
Yeah.
Now, being a male, she expects you to uphold your wife, to uplift your wife. But when you bring her down and then you lift her up, she takes over. She will not only take over in there, you know, like cooking food, she will also begin to plan to take over you
No, that's
because
very
of your weakness.
true. Yes.
But when you highly esteem your wife, she will not have any place to walk
Praise
through.
her.
You praise her. Then she will know this is a no cross boundary. Because this man is totally connected with the wife, is, united with the wife. He does not share his weaknesses, her weaknesses with me. So therefore, a maid is going to stay in her boundaries.
You've had the men who come out and they say, well, man, you allowed us to use Letitia for the maid name.
Yeah.
I realize Letitia is a very good cook. And you're telling that to your wife. Letitia is a very good cook.
That's serious. You're going too far. Not your wife. When you have the maid there, and then it's like, wow, the food is good. You cooked well. Like, of course we know she cooked well. But why are you exaggerating it? Even when she's there. Maybe,
But let me bring this also, Pastor Cyrus. Ladies that are watching us, sometimes they also do great mistakes in their marriages. I would say this: when a maid prepares the food, it doesn't mean she should serve the food as well to your husband. She can prepare the meal, but make sure if you are around, that is, if you are around, please try to create moments when you serve the food to your husband.
So you say there are women that create these scenarios.
Yeah.
Women that create these scenarios. We want to find out when I return, is it really your problem for creating these scenarios? We'll find out.
Unlocking marital bliss. Unlocking marital bliss.
Hey, once again, we'll be back. You're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss with Miss Iris Rod and with my guests, Pastors David and Letitia Mijumbi from Chiwenda. And before we took a break, this was it. Are you women really? Okay. Are you women really the cause of this chaos? Are you really the cause of this chaos? Because we're looking at Sarah, who brought the maid, who made ways so the maid entered the husband's bedroom. Are you really the cause, Pastor David?
Yep.
So you came here and you played the devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good, because this show is about helping people there. Playing the devil's advocate. And you say, but over here, the women are the real cause. Yes, women can do stupid stuff as much as men. Okay? Anybody can do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But the reality is this. Take a look at Sarah. I want us to look at the word of God. Sarah comes in and tells Abram, this is what you're going to do. Abraham is like, oh, yeah, give me that young girl right now. You said Abraham took advantage of Sarah's weakness.
Yep.
Which is very wrong for a husband. And when chaos started, do you know what Sarah said? Abraham, look at what you did. Look at what you did. You're the one who did this mess. And because you did this mess, you better clean it up. Because now Hagar had developed such arrogance and was beginning to look down upon her master, her mistress. In fact, the Bible calls her mistress, which answers the question that actually the woman has full authority over the maid. Not 90%, but 100% over the maid. Because remember, when Sarah saw it and Sarah started mistreating Hagar. Treated her, it's called mistreating, but needed Hagar to get back to her place. And Sarah had forgotten that actually she stirred up that whole mess. And look at this. Abraham is called to go and fix what he did. Now you're going to say, but Sarah, you're the one who sent me to Hagar's arms. Well, you are the man. you would have known what is right and you would have done what is right. I want men to listen and listen very good. If your wife ever tells you stuff that is stupid and you keep quiet and you go with it, when the consequences come, you're going to be paying for it. Your wife is never going to say, she will tell you this. A man told, I was talking to some man and the man came to me and he said, you know what, Pastor? I have a challenge. I said, what? He says, I went to work out. We were on phone. I went to work in London. I started working, doing these common labor, whatever, casual laboring. And while I was doing all of that, I realized it wasn't bringing in good money. So I said, I'm going to go back to school so I can do plumbing and really make more money. Okay. So I even got the loan. I was approved to do the plumbing. And I was going to study for years and then own my own company. And I went to my wife and said, hey, baby, this is what, you know, this kind of work is not bringing in good money. I want to be a professional and do this and do this and do that. And the woman said, no way, that ain't going to work. Whoever is putting that stuff in your head, no, you just do this is enough. Don't get into trying to be a professional. No, no. And the guy listened to the woman. When the guy listened to the woman last year, he realized and he went back to the woman and said, hey, this is what I'm saying to you, okay? Went to the woman and said, do you remember how you stopped me from going now? I'm not making enough money. And the woman said, oh, no, you are the husband. You were supposed to make the right decision. You, I can see you laughing off. You're thinking, no, that's how it is. Remember when the woman went to Adam and said, you can eat of this tree. You can eat of this tree. And Adam said, yes. When God came, he didn't call the woman. When God came, he called Adam. He said, Adam, come here. We got to talk. Tell me. So you ate of the fruit? The woman you gave me. God said, no, I'm not buying that. You are the foundation. You are responsible for this mess. And it's you that I'm holding accountable. And when you look at the word of God, the curse came upon the ground and the serpent, you get it? And then he told Adam, he said, because. That means apportioning blame. Because you listen to the voice. Is it bad to listen to the voice? No. But because you listened to the voice when it was against me.
Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah.
Your wife's voice was against my principles, against everything I told you, and you chose to listen to her instead of listening to me. There's going to be trouble. To this day, when you talk about a maid, and saying, she made me. Letitia, you're making the maid, you make your husband fall in the arms of the maid?
Pastor Cyrus, we are living a life, and men today, Pastor Cyrus, I'm sorry to say this, but
no apology, go ahead, girl.
It's like they bring 50. They want you, the kids have to study, we have house rent, you start home, is ever complaining, you're not working, you're just eating. So you find a way of making ends meet so that you can be productive. In the process.
So the only time to be productive is when you also work.
I need to work to present something. If I ask for sanitary pads, that's a tug of war, ask for this. So you find most of the women, they find themselves in a position, I need to work. Men don't want to pay school fees. I need to work.
Say it loud.
They don't want to look after their kids. They're sperm donors. Oh God, I've just said it. Yeah, so you find yourself, I have to look after these kids. We've seen it in church.
Yeah.
We've seen it in church, Pastor Cyrus. So you find yourself, I need to work. He needs to work. Now, we need a maid.
Okay.
Remember different workplaces. I might come back a little bit late because you need the man also. And now we have the maid. And now the maid has to serve food.
Yes.
I've come back, I'm tired, Pastor Cyrus. For goodness sake, with this traffic of Uganda. I've come back. Of course, you are the understanding husband. The maid brings food. And then you're there. You know, she no longer takes care of me. It's the maid who cooks food. It's the maid who does this. But you're forgetting that I'm also working.
Both of you are working.
Both of us, we are working.
But he expects you to do much more.
If you
Above
could,
and beyond.
thank you. If you could only provide all the things, maybe I would have made at home. I would have done that. But now that you also want me to work, you don't want to pay for the kids' school fees. I need to provide bread. You need to also to provide. I'm working. And you're like, she pushed me to, what do you want me to do for you? You want me and most men, pastors, are like babies. Yeah?
Okay.
Like every time you have to be with bottles, feeding them, every time with bottles, you have to keep them. Even if you try to, there are women, Pastors Rod, who are so good, looking after their husbands, but there are men whose zips cannot even, like every time their zips are open, they don't rest.
To them, their only responsibility, their calling is to pull down their zipper.
Every time, as long as the skirt bypasses, they lose control.
No, that is lust. That is wickedness.
It's even beyond, I think, lust. It's something beyond.
It's wickedness.
Total madness. Like, now you have a maid, I'm working, you want me to treat you like a baby? I have to work with you wherever I go because my husband will cheat on me. My husband will cheat on me.
Now, Letitia, you're bringing all of that. Okay. My husband is going to cheat on me. My husband is going to cheat on me. Imagine now, that's a lot of pressure, man, that you're pushing on your wife, that she has to keep you. Pastor David, can your wife keep you?
She cannot.
Say it loud. Can your wife keep you?
Let me say this. She cannot keep me, no matter what she does.
Who keeps you?
I keep myself.
Thank you.
She doesn't keep me.
You make a decision.
I make a decision. What I was trying to bring home was, don't give a maid a platform on which she can ride to break your marriage.
Okay.
That is what I was trying to bring about to the viewers.
Yes.
Because as I'm standing here and I'm speaking on behalf of the whole people that are watching us.
Yes.
Now, some ladies will give ground to the maids on which to ride on to break their marriages.
Yes.
Like, for instance, you give too much access to the maid to have to your husband. Yeah. Now, your husband may be a good man, but he may not have the stamina to stand. Maybe he's growing up, he's still a kid, as she said. So you better know this, that the Bible says, lead us not into temptations. Now, some ladies, because some maids walk into the home not only to do the work, but even to take over. Others have, they're like, once I step in, I will take that man. Now, she is very strategic. She knows.
You're right.
Once you give her that platform, she's going to utilize it. Yeah. Remember that your man may be a good man, but listen, don't try to break him down. Because I'll say this, yes, I have to protect myself. Letitia does not keep me. She does not. But there are men out there who are not born again. There are men out there who are still staggering. Their faith is not yet grounded. Yeah. So don't bring in a maid who is demonic and then give her a platform. For instance,
how do you know that they're demonic, Pastor?
You can know now. If you see a maid putting on some skimpy clothes, just know. Take charge over that. Don't allow a maid to do unnecessary stuff in your home. As a wife, take control over your home. When you see a maid, working on herself 3 times a day, she's up to something. Wake up. Smell the coffee. What is going on?
Making up.
She's working up. There's some maids. You can see them. They're trying to break. I'm not supporting that a man should fall for the maid. Get me right. I'm not trying to say that every man should fall for the maid. But if a maid is strategic,
you can sense it as a
you
wife.
can sense it. You better sense it. Because sometimes she may not take your man, but she can bring havoc in the marriage. She can bring some, because the man may begin to flirt with the maid, which is not right. But don't allow anything. Though you don't protect your man, let me say this, honey. I know you protect yourself, and I know I protect myself. But I should still play my role in your life. Why? I should not expose you. I should be a responsible man. I should look after my home. Now, when you run crazy in a home, because I'm not looking after the home, it's my responsibility. You have a right to say, this man is very irresponsible. So that's why I have to play my role as a man in a home, and even the woman has to play her role as a woman in the home. When she comes back on the weekend, try to make it up for the man. Try to make it up for the man. I'm not advocating for the devil. Get me right. I'm not doing this. But I'll be very clear. When a maid walks in and she has the target of taking over your marriage, don't give her room. Don't give her a platform to ride on. Don't do that. Take charge over your home. When you see her having too much access over your man, come on, tell her, stop here.
And the man?
No, let me say this. Not the man alone. Listen to this, honey. I'll say this. Let me say this. A man may look like this. Some men are not men. I want to be real. Most men marrying does not mean they are men. Most people have partners, but they are not men. Yeah. I'm telling you, they have a wife, but they are not men enough. So study your man. Study your man. He may
Now, okay. Now, I appreciate what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
And you say that whatever it is, you don't expose your husband. You get it? Don't expose your what? Your husband. In the same way, you don't expose your wife.
Yeah.
You get me? Now, Tisha said that we have a challenge. We go home, both of us are working. The man has not been able to provide. He's demanding that I work. And then one thing we forget as husbands in many homes is that raising a child is money.
Thank you.
Take a look at this. Many people watching right now that believe, yeah, my woman got to go to work because she's doing nothing at home. We're going to break it down very, very easily. Let's do daycare, okay? You got a baby, so you need to take them to daycare, okay? And I want to use an average, okay? Let's take a look at maybe the U.S. standard. Somehow on average, okay? Daycare. How much? Okay, let's look. How much are you paying an hour for daycare? Okay? You look at probably, let's lower it to about $35 an hour. Daycare. You get me? $35 an hour. That child is growing up and all that kind of stuff. And the wife is doing daycare. You get me? Because you're saying she's doing nothing. Okay, let's look at the nothing. $35 an hour. And then for 12 hours, 24 hours, how much is that?
That's a lot. Almost 700 around there.
Okay.
No. Yep, around that.
A day. A day. Okay? A day. She don't take breaks. She doesn't have nothing. A day. You get me? Let's talk about cleaning the house.
Let's give it $10.
$10 an hour.
An hour.
An hour. And she cleans the house for probably 4 or 5 hours. A day.
That's $50.
$50 every day. And she's saving. You get me?
She's at home.
She's at home. 50, 700. Now 750 cooking food.
Can we give it 10 too?
Let's give it, no, cooking food is not a joke because she has to think, this is what they ate yesterday. I can give them the same. I have to think. Let's give it 25.
All right.
25 an hour. Okay? Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
$75 the whole day.
$75 the whole day. Okay? Now, I'm only mentioning that. Let's do the laundry. Let's do the laundry. Okay? And that's one day. In fact, you really don't want to mess with this girl. I'm telling you. You don't want to mess. All of that, if you're going to put it together, look at what she's bringing in.
It
in
is
one
actually
day.
One day.
You might realize she's actually bringing in more than you. She's bringing in more than you. By staying home, she's bringing in more than you. You get it? In one day. But then you want her to get out and go and get $200 a month. You know, you don't realize what she's saving and bringing into the home. And now this is what she was saying, and say, we men will scream, oh yeah, you gotta go and bring in and bring in and bring in. But you don't realize what she's bringing in by daycare, laundry, and all this. Now, when she brings in a maid, she is the mistress. She's the boss, okay? And she determines what the maid does and does not do. And every maid out there, you got to know, it doesn't matter how much your husband may ignore his wife, she is your boss. Never, ever get yourself to a place of saying, oh, after all, the woman is not that good. I'm better than the woman. I can show up. No, you're dreaming and God will deal with you. I'm telling you, God will deal with you. So the best thing is to humble yourself no matter where you are. Even when you think you're better at cooking, humble yourself before your boss.
Pastor Cyrus,
yeah?
sorry to cut you short. When you read the Bible, when Hagar had run away with the child,
Go ahead.
when the angel met her, she was screaming, "Sir, my child is going to die." She's screaming.
Sarah is mistreating me.
The angel didn't call her Hagar, Abraham's wife.
No.
Hagar, Sarah's maid.
Now that's the thing. So wherever you are, you may even have ended up with a child with the man of the house. You are considered in the eyes of God as the maid to Sarah. And Sarah is your boss. You never became the wife of the house. Sarah is your boss. And if Sarah says, get out of the house, you get out of the house. Because Sarah had enough of it and told Abraham, get this chick out of here. Not only her, but her son too. Oh, she's so mean. No, she ain't so mean.
She won't. She is not. You know, Abraham, I love that story, what she said.
Yeah.
You know, the angel tells Hagar, go back and submit under Sarah, not Abraham. Under Sarah. That means your mistress. That means when you are in a home, you are not even under the man, you are under the woman.
That's what I said, that she is your boss.
Because a home,
she has full authority over you. The woman builds the home. That's what the Bible says. You see, we men come in and say, oh, I'm a man, look at my home. No, I'm telling you, if you don't have a wise woman, you can build a home. The Bible calls the woman the one who builds the home. What does the man do? He lays the foundation
on which the woman is
going to build. So many times it's so quick for us men to say, oh, the woman ain't doing this, or I ain't doing this. No, you lay the foundation. You set the base on which she builds. You set everything on which she works. If she has nothing to use, you're putting a lot of burden on her.
Yeah, some maids, there has been a scenario where maids have been mistreating and molesting kids in the home. Yeah. And that is happening very, very a lot.
When that happens, we got to have an answer. If they are mistreating kids in the home, molesting them, mama, be careful. Daddy, be careful. At that point, fire her immediately. Hold her accountable.
But Sarah's Road, I don't support also maids who mistreat kids. But then, on another hand, you find that you have a maid at your home. You brought a maid. But this is a maid who is looking after your kids. She cooks food for you.
Yeah.
But the way you treat her, it's like she's like, I don't know, like you treat her like as if, like a stranger. Yet this is the same person, the food you're eating. She's the one who prepares it. Now, why would you put your maid in such a position? Leave these ones who are just evil. That those people who are naturally bad, that even when you give them good services, they're still bad. But there are those maids that are good, but you find this. I went one to our home, there's a lady who called me, but then I used to have a salon to work on her hair. So I went to her home. It was a rich home. And this woman, I've never seen such a boss. Come here. Ugenda. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I was there for a few minutes and I looked at this woman. Then she was treating her maid. That one, yeah? And like, Jesus Christ, the girl is just mopping. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, how will she?
Now, Letitia, you are very right. You are very right. There are such women that are mistreating the maid. But even to that, we also need to find out, why do women get so bitter? Over the maids? Why? In most cases, I can assure you, it's the failure between her and the husband that she now pours out her wrath on the maid. When the woman is taken care of and the husband is doing his responsibility, it becomes so hard for her to even think I have a competitor or I have a rival in the home. But now, the more she misses the intimacy, the closeness with her husband, she begins to even think now there's a potential party that can take the closeness, the intimacy. You get it? And then just gets frustrated and pours her frustration and will tell the woman, this maid, look over here, you broke a glass, you're going to pay this amount of money. You broke this, you're going to pay this amount of money. But it all gets back to us, the men. With Abraham, the story you introduced, the chaos would never have been there if Abraham had rejected using Sarah's weakness. There would never have been chaos at all. And to this day, the chaos in the home is coming back to the role of the husband. What are you doing? How are you treating your woman? Because that is going to have an effect on how she's handling the rest. You get me?
I get you.
On how she's handling the rest. So it's quite important that as much as we have the maids, we get to know that when they come in a home, and to the men, I would boldly tell them, take the maids, just accept them and be a father. Wow. Never look at them in any other way, but always see yourself as a father in the home, because they'll end up seeing themselves as daughters and nothing more. But the more you don't see yourself as a father and you look at her and you think, it is so ridiculous. You know, God brings some of these girls so they may be a blessing. So they may be a blessing. So you may also help them out, empower them. We have search maids. We've empowered them, and today they are even married, but they were in our home, you know. But because my wife saw them and she took care of them as a mother, developed them, I was there as a father, and now today they're happily married.
And they see us as their parents.
They see us as their parents. They even will call back, will come in and say, how are you doing? How's everything? Because that's how you're going to look at it. Anything less will destroy the home. Yeah. I know our time is running out and my cameraman is after me, but I want to find out. We gotta bring this thing out so people will know that, maids, this is not the end of you. Yeah. I want you to take a minute and speak in that camera before Tisha closes.
Yep, I want to talk to the men that are watching us and the women and the maids that are watching us. This program was not targeting anybody. It was about enlightening this issue of the maids. You know that the maids, you are doing a great work, and we know that the ladies are also doing a great work. But listen, man, you got to stand in your position and allow the maid to be under your wife. Don't take it more. As Cyrus Rod said, be a father. I love you.
Amen. That's so beautiful. So, Mrs. Mijumbi, Your last words to our viewers.
Actually, I just want to say this, that to the ladies who are watching, um, a maid is someone's daughter, like the way you are someone's daughter. So when we bring in these kids, let us see them as our own children. Let us just imagine, what if this was my girl, how would I have treated her? And then another thing, to the girls who go into people's homes to work, just know what you sow is what you reap. Is it what you reap, what you sow? What you sow is what you reap. So if you want to have a bright future, reap well, sow well in someone's home. Come, just know, being a maid doesn't put you low. It's like going to someone's office, get a rug, and then start mopping. That's the difference, is that you're working in someone's home. So just come do your job. Just be faithful, and also God will also make a way for you. One day you have your own home and you'll be happily married. Otherwise, we are so grateful. And for the men who are watching also, boundaries. Boundaries. You want to talk to a maid? I'm there. When we are angry, we have our conflicts, don't use the maid as an scapegoat, to use the maid, talk to the maid. Just know your boundaries. Let everyone know their boundaries. And we shall have a happy home, and everyone will be blessed.
Thank you so much. That is Mr. and Mrs. Bijumbi. Everyone will be blessed if you get to understand your boundaries, okay? When you walk into somebody's home, be faithful over there. God will bless you. Be faithful. Don't try to go in and wreck it because you think you're so beautiful, you're so amazing. No. I mean, if you can wreck that home, I assure you, that wreckage is going to come back to you double in one way or another. So I'm warning you, ladies, it will come back to you and you will regret it. Otherwise, maids are a blessing. And we'll hope to see you next time. Remember, marriage is easy, ignorance is hard.
Unlocking marital bliss.